The village of Willow Creek, once peaceful, now shrouded in fear. A darkness had descended, a chill that seeped into your bones. It started subtly, whispers on the wind, strange symbols appearing on doors. Then, the nightmares began, vivid, terrifying, and all too real. The villagers, once vibrant and full of life, were now withdrawn. Eyes darted suspiciously. Trust, once the bedrock of their community, crumbled. Something was terribly wrong. An evil had taken root, spreading like a disease, and no one knew how to stop it. The source of their dread was a newcomer, a woman named Yelena. She arrived silently, a solitary figure cloaked in black. Her eyes, as dark as the forest surrounding the village, seemed to hold ancient secrets, secrets that chilled the very air. Yelena kept to herself, residing in a dilapidated cottage at the edge of the woods. Villagers spoke of strange herbs and chanting emanating from her dwelling at night. Fear, like a venomous snake, coiled around their hearts. Who was this woman, and what had she brought with her? Thomas, a young woodsman known for his courage, felt a growing unease. He had always protected the village, keeping it safe from wild animals and the dangers of the forest. But this felt different, more insidious. This was a threat he couldn't fight with an axe. One evening, drawn by an unseen force, Thomas ventured towards Yelena's cottage. The forest, usually familiar and comforting, now felt oppressive, the trees like gnarled claws reaching out to grab him. As he neared the cottage, he heard a low chanting, a guttural sound that sent shivers down his spine. He peered through a crack in the wall. Inside, bathed in the eerie glow of candlelight, Yelena was performing a ritual. Strange symbols adorned the floor, glowing with an unnatural light. In her hands, she held a wooden effigy, a crude representation of a human form. It was then that Thomas noticed the effigy was pierced with pins, each one strategically placed. Fear, cold and paralyzing, gripped Thomas. He recognized the symbols, the chanting, the effigy. His grandfather had told him stories, whispered warnings of dark magic and vengeful spirits. This was black magic, a curse, and Yelena was the one casting it. The next morning, the village awoke to a horrifying sight. Livestock lay dead in the fields, their eyes glazed over with an unnatural whiteness. The crops, once bountiful and green, withered and died overnight. A pall of silence hung over the village, broken only by the sound of weeping. Panic spread like wildfire. Accusations flew. The villagers, their fear and desperation growing, turned on each other. The once strong bonds of community were shattered, replaced by suspicion and mistrust. The curse was working its insidious magic, tearing them apart from within. Driven by a desperate hope, Thomas rallied a small group of villagers. They approached Yelena's cottage, their faces a mixture of fear and anger. Thomas, his voice trembling slightly, pleaded with her to lift the curse. He offered her anything, everything they had, if only she would spare them. Yelena listened, a cold smile playing on her lips. She spoke then, her voice a low, chilling whisper that seemed to penetrate their very souls. She told them of a betrayal, of a wrong committed against her family generations ago. The curse, she proclaimed, was her vengeance, a debt that must be paid. Despair washed over Thomas. He hadn't known, couldn't have known about a wrong committed by people he'd never met, generations past. He pleaded with her, argued that the current villagers were innocent, that they didn't deserve this fate. But Yelena was unmoved. Her eyes, cold and unforgiving, held no mercy. The curse, she declared, would continue. It would consume them, their children and their children's children. The village of Willow Creek would become a desolate wasteland, a testament to the price of betrayal. And with a final, chilling laugh, she dismissed them, leaving them to their fate. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Time seemed to stretch endlessly, each day blending into the next, a monotonous cycle of despair. The curse tightened its grip on Willow Creek, a once thriving village now shrouded in an unrelenting gloom. The land remained barren, the crops refusing to grow. The soil once fertile and rich had turned to dust, mocking the villagers' efforts to cultivate it. The livestock died, their carcasses rotting in the fields. The stench of death hung heavy in the air, a grim reminder of their plight. Hunger gnawed at their bellies, weakness sapped their strength. The children cried out in pain, their once bright eyes now dull and lifeless. The villagers, once full of life, were now shadows of their former selves. Their laughter had faded, replaced by the sound of their weary footsteps. Their pleas for help to neighboring villages were met with fear and suspicion. No one wanted to risk the wrath of the curse, leaving Willow Creek to fend for itself. Word had spread of the curse, of the witch who had brought ruin upon Willow Creek. Whispers of Yelena's dark magic filled the air, each tale more terrifying than the last. No one dared to help, for fear of invoking Yelena's wrath upon themselves. The villagers were left to face their fate alone, their hope dwindling with each passing day. They were trapped, isolated by their own terror and the curse that bound them. The once close-knit community now lived in constant fear, their bonds of friendship and family strained to the breaking point. One day, while scavenging for scraps in the withered forest, Thomas stumbled upon an old, forgotten well. The forest was dense and eerie, with twisted trees and shadows that seemed to move on their own. Thomas had been searching for anything useful, anything that could help him survive another day in this desolate place. As he peered into its depths, he noticed something shimmering at the bottom. The well was deep and dark, and the glimmer was faint, but unmistakable. It was as if a tiny star had fallen into the abyss, waiting to be discovered. With a surge of adrenaline, a spark of hope ignited in his chest. For the first time in what felt like ages, Thomas felt a glimmer of optimism. Could this be the sign he had been waiting for? The forest had always been a place of despair, but now it seemed to hold a promise. He climbed down, his heart pounding with anticipation. Each step was careful and deliberate, the stones of the well slick with moss and age. The descent seemed to take forever, but Thomas was driven by the hope of what he might find. It was a locket, small and ornate, crafted from silver. The craftsmanship was exquisite, with intricate designs that hinted at a long-lost era. It was unlike anything Thomas had ever seen before. As he brushed away the dirt and grime, he noticed a delicate inscription on its surface: "Avenge us." The words sent a chill down his spine. Who were they? What had happened to them? The locket seemed to hold secrets, stories of the past that were waiting to be uncovered. Suddenly, a memory flashed in his mind. A story his grandfather had told him about a powerful artifact, a locket, that could break even the strongest curse. Could this be it? His grandfather's tales had always seemed like mere legends, but now, holding the locket in his hand, Thomas wondered if there was truth to them. The locket was more than just a piece of jewelry. It was a beacon of hope, a key to a mystery that had haunted his family for generations. Armed with the locket and a renewed sense of hope, Thomas confronted Yelena once more. He pleaded with her, his voice hoarse with desperation, to see reason, to understand the suffering she was causing. He held up the locket, its silver surface catching the dim light, and begged her to lift the curse. Yelena's eyes widened in recognition. For the first time since her arrival, a flicker of fear crossed her face. She lunged for the locket, her composure shattered, but it was too late. Thomas held it aloft, and in a voice filled with the combined sorrow and rage of his village, he spoke the words inscribed upon it. The effect was immediate. The forest, once a place of serene beauty, was now shrouded in an oppressive darkness. The air crackled with energy, a foreboding sign of the turmoil that had been unleashed. The wind howled, a mournful cry that echoed through the valley, carrying with it the whispers of lost souls. Yelena screamed, a sound filled with agony and rage as the curse turned upon her. Her voice pierced the night, a harrowing testament to her suffering. Then, silence. The locket fell to the ground with a dull thud, its once vibrant glow now extinguished. Yelena was gone, vanished without a trace, leaving behind only the echoes of her final moments. But the victory felt hollow. The price paid was too great, the scars too deep. The curse, though lifted, had taken its toll. The land, once fertile and thriving, was now a wasteland. The land remained barren, the village a desolate shell of its former self, haunted by the memories of what once was. The villagers, their spirits broken, abandoned Willow Creek, leaving behind the ghosts of their past and the haunting memory of the witch's curse. They sought refuge elsewhere, hoping to find peace. The village stood silent, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lie hidden beneath the surface of even the most peaceful of places. It served as a stark warning to all who dared to venture too close, a testament to the enduring power of the curse.